bad camera angle. Alright, let's fix this. It's still kind of low. Let's try right there. Ta-da! Alright. So, today we are on day 3 of our Allegro Sew Along. I'm going to move this camera over a little bit. Maybe. Ah, too much. There we go. Alright. So day 3 of our Allegro Sew Along, and today we're going to be assembling the body of our shorts, pants, joggers, skirt, whichever view you are sewing. So we're going to focus on the split hem of the long skirt, of the ankle length skirt, has that fun split. And we're going to focus on assembling the fly extension and side seams and, ooh, my lights flickered, and the inseam of the shorts and joggers, pants. Alright, so we're going to just jump in and do this. So yesterday we did our pockets. Our pockets are assembled and all put together, just like that. Hello everybody. Yay. I love it when you guys join. Yay. So we did our pockets yesterday. So now our first step is to sew the side seam. So I did one already just to kind of try to speed the process up a little bit. So now we're going to take a front and take a back, and we're going to line them up along that side seam. If you are sewing the pants length or the joggers length, well, and this has it too, I guess the skirt has it too. Anyway, mark both ends, the top and the hem of whatever you're marking, and then mark or pin those. Pin your top, pin your hem, and then pin your markings, like match your markings up. You may have, I feel like my hair is laying funny. You may have to ease it in a little bit. Can you see this? So there, does that show? Kind of, you can kind of see how that puckers up a little bit. It's because of the curve of the back piece, that if you just plop it on there, it doesn't look like they line up. So you need to match your ends, you need to match your markings, and then you need to kind of ease them together a little bit. And what that allows us to do is it creates room for your hip and for your bottom. So, because we're not flat, so we're not sewing flat items. We're taking flat fabric and giving it some shape. So match your ends, match your marks, pin it together. I'm going to start up here, and then we're going to sew. Alright, so just like yesterday, we're going to sew first, because we're doing wovens. So you're going to sew it with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. That's a pretty standard seam allowance for Love Notions. We're going to go all the way down. And you're just kind of working it and easing it together. That's what I'm stopping and doing. Alright. So you're going to sew down it with a straight stitch. You see it right there, 3/8 inch seam allowance. Get going. Hello everybody. Yay, I'm glad you guys are here. Awesome. All right, so then after you sew it, we're going to want to finish this raw edge because it's going to fray. So either use an overlock stitch on your sewing machine, a zigzag stitch, or a serger. Now, if you're using a serger, I recommend that you do not trim your seam allowance back, and especially if you're using a loose weave on your fabric, don't trim your seam allowance back because that weakens that seam. So I'm just going to run the serger. Pucker. Oh well. So right there, you can see I did not trim the seam allowance back. Right there. So now we're going to press. I know that's really surprising. Oh, pressing cloth. So for this, we want to press our seam to the back. And so when you open it up, it goes a little bit all over the place. If you take a second and press it first before opening that seam, it will open nicer and it will be easier to press the seam to the back. So press it. I have the back piece up on top and then just fold it over, and like you can already see how much nicer it's laying. I have a pucker in it. I will fix it later. I'm just going to, what I'll do later is just in my straight stitch, it's not in my surged edge. I'm just going to pick out a couple stitches and make it lay flat and then restitch. So I'll do that later though. So I'm just going to press it really nicely. And you can see when you lay it that it kind of will bulge up at that hip area, and that's, like I said, because we're creating something to fit something with curves. So you may see a little bit of shaping in your side seam, and that is what we like. So you may not see it if your fabric is really drapey. So all right, so there we have our seam pressed to the back. This, my big pressing cloth, it's a tea towel. It's a dirty tea towel, but it's just a tea towel. So one of those, you get a pack of a dozen of them for $5 at Walmart, tea towels, nothing fancy. All right, so you have an option at this point. What you can do is do a straight stitch, top stitch right along the pocket to keep that pointed towards the back if you would like, or not, is totally optional. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it, and then I can show you what a bar tack is. So I'm going to switch my thread so that you can see it better. Alright, 1 second. I don't know where it is. I have a post-it note somewhere that says what my bar tack length is, but that's okay. We'll make it up as we go along. I've got a little bit. I didn't get that opened up all the way. So I'm going to press that again. So, alright. Ooh, bed sheets work great. Yeah, so many options. Really for a pressing cloth, all you want is cotton fabric because it can take high heat, and preferably undyed because a dyed fabric can transfer the color when you press it onto something else. So no prints or anything like that, just a white cotton cloth. Okay, so I am doing the top stitching down, and I'm just feeling for where the bottom of the pocket is, just all the way down to about there. And then I'm going to switch to a zigzag stitch. I remember what I have it set at usually. Okay, we'll just go for there. Oh, I wasn't careful with that. That's too... Oh, wait a minute. No, that's good. That's too long. Okay. We'll get it. Alright, so basically your bar tack, some machines do have, there we go, just a bar tack stitch. I don't, clearly. So I ended up doing a zigzag stitch at a 3.7 width and a 0.5 length. And so what a bar tack is just a really short zigzag stitch that really locks that and secures it into place. Alright, your pattern has not arrived from PDF plotting. Oh no, hopefully it'll get there soon, Karen. Alright, has anyone already started sewing? So yeah, you can sew with me step by step, or you can do it all at the end. We'll have over the weekend to catch up. And then on Monday, or no, wait. Monday I'll draw a winner. Sunday is when your final Allegros will be due, I guess, if you're going to enter the giveaway. So I will create a folder and ask you to share any Allegros that you've made during the sew along in that folder, and then I will just draw one at random. Usually we just scroll up and down until my kids say stop, and wherever my finger lands. It's very random, very scientific. Oh, now there we go. That was a really long bar tack, but typically not that long. But there's our other bar tack. So now we have top stitching. So now we're going to, hi Terry, sew our fronts together. So we're going to create that faux fly. And if you've never done a faux fly, it can look tricky, but I promise it's not scary at all. You just take your time. I'm a firm believer. Take your time, and pretty much anybody can sew anything. So, my pieces are not, let me see here. Looks like I may have had some shifting when my fabric cut out. There we go. There we go. All right. So you're going to line up your fabrics right sides together. Just going to leave that in there. And remember to shorten your stitch. And now we're just going to sew along the fly extension. So I'm going to sew it up real quick, and then I'll show you. I hope that pink shows up. So 3/8 inch seam allowance. And we're just sewing along the fly extension. Curve where it curves at the bottom of it, and then stop and pivot and then sew down the front of the crotch curve. So, yeah, we can see the pink. So you can see I sewed straight down. This is called the fly extension. So straight down that, curve along the bottom, stop, drop your needle, and pivot, and then follow that curve along. So then you're going to stop when you reach the bottom of that curve. So, alright, so now we need to clip. So I cut right into my seam allowance, right there. But can you see I did not cut into my stitching? So I just cut those so that they're free. And now I'm going to serge around it. And I'm going to do it in 2 steps. So I'll stop and show you how I do it. So first pass, I'm just going along the fly extension. Okay. So first pass is just along the fly extension. And what I do when I get down here is, so my serger is going along this edge right here, I fold this back so that it's out of the way, and then I just go right off the end. Can you see that? Does that make sense? So I just serge down, and then when I get here, I take this, and because I clipped into that seam allowance, I can fold that over, and then I just go right off the edge. And now I'm going to serge this part. So I'm going to start at the top, and when I start, I'm going to fold the fly extension back so that I can just start right here at the very top and serge down there. I need a new blade on my serger. Let's see how they're separate, and I do that in 2 steps, and then just trim the threads. So we have our fly extension sewn, and then the bottom of the crotch curve sewn, and then we have that raw edge finished. So now this clip is that marking on the front pattern piece, this mark. You want to make sure you transfer that. So I have a clip there because it's board short fabric, but usually I do use a pin. And what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and lay it wrong side up. And then right where that clip is going, that clip directs that fly extension to fold so that it gets folded over in the proper spot. It's really important to fold that over in the right spot because that dictates the length of the front of our waistband. And so if that's not folded in the right spot, then our waistband piece is not going to fit properly. So that's what it's going to look like. I just moved the clip to hold this down. So now, before everything shifts around, I'm just going to take it to the machine real quick and baste that fly extension down. See, I basted that in place, and then this is what it looks like from the front. So we have this little pocket here, and now we need to press that. So I'm just going to lay it out real nice and flat. Get pressing cloth so I don't melt my polyester board short fabric. And press. And press it really well. You really want that crease to be nice and sharp. Yes, my picture is backwards. I'm sorry, I didn't think about that. Yes, because of the Facebook Live, it uses selfie mode for the phone, and so everything is mirror image. You will be pushing that fly extension to the right as you're looking at it. Ooh, there was it was like a car engine, but it started off like that really low sound that tornado sirens start at. It kind of made me catch my breath a little bit. Like, we're not supposed to have any bad weather, but it's the Midwest. You never know. It changes. Alright, so there is our fly extension right there, and it's nice and pressed. You can kind of see right there into it. So now we're going to top stitch. And there's a couple little tricks that you can do to make this easier. So some fabric will leave a mark when you press it really, really well. Usually it washes out. Kind of just marks the fabric. This one, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the mark that it's creating from the underside? I will often use that, or as I'm stitching, I will run a finger right along that edge. I can feel it. And I'll just run my finger along that and then follow that, feel that ridge as I'm stitching and keep it straight. So, no, there is top stitching. You can top stitch. Or you can mark your fly extension. So take your pattern piece, and so we have this. You can create, just fold this back and create a crease right there. And then place that crease, line it up with the fold on the front, and then use some tailor's chalk and trace the extension. And of course, that one's not showing up. I know this shows. And just going with the old tracing wheel. And so just trace that fly extension. You want something washable, like, for sure. There we go. And kind of trace a guide. You see that? For where you're going to top stitch. And what we're going to do is on the right side, I'm going to lengthen my stitch here and follow that guide, or just, like I said before, use your finger and follow it. I went to lift that with my thigh, and I don't have that knee lift engaged. So you're just top stitching right along that fly extension. So if you're looking from the back, you're stitching this down. This right here marks where our fold is. So we're not stitching on that fold, we're stitching on the fly extension. So if you look at the front, see how I can still get my hand in there? It's just the fly extension that's top stitched down. No, you're not stitching on the fold. Do not stitch this. This stays open. I mean, you can if you want that look, but typically that's not what people are after. If you want it, go for it. but the instructions state to just top stitch the fly extension down. So you press the fly extension over to the side, and then you're stitching along that curved edge. And then it kind of looks like a faux fly, like your jeans. Da, 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 da. I'm checking. Yes, we're backwards picture, so I'm just checking to make sure I don't have any questions on here. Alright, so does that make sense to everybody? Do you understand where we're top stitching? And then if you like, you can add some bar tacks on here too. I think the instructions state one right here and then one at the bottom. That's traditionally where the bar tacks are located. So you can put those in. So does that make sense with the fly extension construction? And kind of give it a second because of the delay. I don't want to move on if people are confused. Alright, we're good? Yay! Alright, so now we're going to sew the back curve. Your seat curve. So, I have a big huge thing here. Fold it right sides together and line up that curve. And pin in place. Alright, I'm going to put this out here now. These look big. Like, they're going to look big before you get elastic in them. They're going to look big. They're going to look huge. Don't even give it a second thought. You're sewing the right size. I know you're going to be tempted to try them on after you get this sewn. Don't do it because they're not going to fit right because they don't have the elastic in. The elastic makes a big, big, big difference in the fit. So, like, they look big. Look at that. Like, don't freak out. You're okay. So we're going to sew that back crotch curve now. Seat curve. Remember to shorten your stitch back after you did your top stitching. Sorry, I'm going to change my pink out. I need this. And I think the black shows better against the white anyways. Okay. We're in business. Back stitch at the beginning of your seam. So that whole curve. Hi! I love that we get international. This time frame seems to work out really well. I like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to serge right down that raw edge. So there we go. I need to change the blade on my serger. It's a hot mess. So there I have the finished edge, and then I have my seam. And so now our pants are like this. Now you're going to take your side seam and open it up to hold our pants the regular way. I don't know. Like I said, don't freak out. They look big. Look at that. It's because there's no elastic. Don't freak out. So now we're going to line up our inseam. And just take, and I match the crotch crotch seams first. And I like to have mine going the same direction. I like the seam to sit one continuous direction. Some people nest them. It's honestly whatever you prefer. I don't know if there's any technical right or wrong to it. I like the look of the seam being continuous when they're going in the same direction. I don't feel that you have that when they go in different directions. So it's common. I do get emails like, I'm sewing these and these pants look huge and people are concerned, and it's a valid concern. My daughter, I had her try on a pair, and I did not have the elastic in, but what I was looking for was just if it was going to fit her thighs, because her thighs are an inch larger than mine, and so I knew that waist didn't matter. I just needed it to not be snug in her thighs. And she holds them up and she's like, these are huge. These are so big, Mom. I'm not this big. I'm like, there's no elastic. It doesn't matter. They look big. They're gonna look big. It doesn't matter what size you are. They're gonna look big. Don't freak out. So, all right. So now we're just gonna sew our inseam in. And just a straight stitch all the way down. Back stitch at the beginning and the end of your seams. Okay. So there we go. If you're sewing the version with the hem, you may notice that there's like a little jut out at the bottom of your hem. That's your seam, your hem allowance. I think that's the right term. That allows you to fold the hem up and it to have the correct width to match your pants. So just go ahead and follow that little jut out. I'm going to sew the cuffs on this, so I don't have that. I just realized that I didn't have you press the back rise. You want to press that back rise when you're done. So this is what we have now. And I'm just going to turn them, ooh, funny bone, right side out. And see, there we go. Boom. They're looking good. They're looking like pants, ladies and gentlemen and seamstresses and sewers. And how many words do we have for people who sew? I know that not everybody likes seamstress, and the majority I see don't care for the word sewer because it looks like sewer. And then some people don't like sewist, which I think sewist is cute. I don't know. I just say I sew. I figured if I turn it into a verb, then I'm good. Okay, I'm just trimming some threads. That is where we're at for today. So tomorrow, we'll sew the waistband. And I have a yoga waistband hack too tomorrow. I want to check comments, and then we're going to go to the ankle length skirt. Right? Oh my gosh. Huge pants after quarantine. Yes. They're comfy though. Like, oh, these are, so can you see them? These are the previous Allegros, and they are a size too big, maybe 2 sizes too big. but I still wear them. They're comfy cozy. Yeah, I am all about comfy pants right now. Contemplated diet options. I know they look big. They just look big. It doesn't matter. There's no elastic, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what size you're sewing. As long as they fit you, that is what we're after. So, you like that you get the finished measurements. I do like the finished measurements too. Like, that is such a nice feature. So, boom. All right. Those are done. I'm going to fold them up again. Any questions on these before we go on to the ankle skirt? Yeah. Oh, do you guys want to see the yoga waistband? You want a sneak peek? If I can find it? Boom. Isn't that nice? This is the athletic fabric, and I kind of have a little bit of uneven gathering there in the front, but I'm not concerned with it. So my yoga waistband is just over 4 inches tall, is where mine finished out at, and it's really comfortable. So comments. Okay, if I can only find 1 1/4 woven elastic. Okay, elastic. If you can only find 1 1/4 inch tall elastic, okay, I need to math. You need to create a shorter waistband, and it needs to be 1/4 of an inch shorter. So you can just remove a quarter of an inch. I had a schedule flip, and so I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. You need to reduce your waistband 1/4 of an inch in height. So, Style Maker, do they? I didn't even think to look at Style Maker for elastic. I got my elastic on Amazon. You can trim, I would just trim 1/4 of an inch off the top of the waistband, center the buttonholes, and be done. There we go. That's easy math. You just need a shorter waistband. If you only have like 2 inch tall elastic, you need to make your waistband taller. Just add 2 inches to the top. That's how I would do it to make it easy. There's the yoga waistband coming tomorrow in a blog post near you. All right. I want to make sure. Okay, fabrics for the yoga waistband. You want something that has a lot of recovery. It's nice and stretchy. Cotton lycra is always a popular one. This is the poly spandex from the Fabric Fairy. Has a nice amount of recovery. To check recovery on fabric, you don't do it right at the cut edge. Go up further and kind of fold your fabric over. So take your fabric, you have your cut edge up here, grab down here. And grab 2 points 4 inches apart. Makes the math really easy. You do need a ruler to do this. Grab 2 points 4 inches apart. Hold 1 on 0, the one that's down by 4, stretch it. And then how far you can stretch it before the fabric distorts, that is your stretch percentage. So if your 4 inches of fabric goes to 5 inches, you have 25% stretch in your fabric. If your 4 inches of fabric goes to 6 inches, you have 50% stretch. And if you can stretch it to 7 inches, you have 75% stretch. And if you can stretch it all the way to 8 inches, that's 100% stretch fabric. Your recovery, if it has good recovery, when you stretch your 4 inches out as far as you can go and you let go again, it's going to bounce back to 4 inches. If it does not have good recovery, it may stretch back to 4.5 inches, 5 inches. That fabric does not have good recovery. So you want it to return to its original measurement after you stretch it. Fabrics that have spandex and lycra in them are ideal. Cotton lycra. Double brushed poly is hit or miss. Sometimes you have to make a shorter waistband, so like instead of the 80% of width that I recommend, you may need to take it down to 70 or 75. So you kind of have to play with it a little bit for double brushed poly in my experience. So ribbing. So cotton jersey and cotton ribbing, if they don't have elastic, if they don't have spandex or lycra in them, they're not going to recover. So ribbing and jersey have what's called mechanical stretch in them, so they're going to stretch because of how those threads are woven together. But there's no property that will bring that thread back after it's stretched out. That's why 100% cotton t-shirts, they can get stretched out, and the necklines tend to get stretched out a lot as the shirt gets older and more use. That's why that happens, is because there's no element of recovery in that fabric. So you really need to have something that has spandex or lycra, or I think elastine is another brand name for that. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, good cotton lycra. Okay, I'm just making sure. All right, I think I can find everything. Linda, with your 1 1/4 inch woven elastic, if that didn't make sense, email me and I will draw you pictures and everything to help you make the sense of that. So, okay, my son just came home from baseball. I can hear him. He's going to trample down the stairs. Our shower bathroom is right off of my studio. Take your shoes off, please.
I will shower later.
No, you'll shower now, please. Okay. Well, nobody's going to see you. So go in the shower, take your shoes off. Sorry, everybody. All right, so now our ankle length skirt. Isn't this beautiful? So this is our Essex linen from Style Maker. And our biggest thing on this skirt, okay, just put it by the front door, please, is you cannot construct this with a serger. Like, if you've been breaking my recommendations, no, that's and constructing with your serger all this time, okay, that's fine. It's your garment. You do it how you want. It's not going to work when you're constructing this side seam. However, I am going to show you a trick that you'll be able to finish your edge with a serger still. So, I have the pockets constructed and all that. And then what I did on the front and the back, see this area of the skirt that juts out? This is our hem extension. You can finish that. So finish, don't trim off any seam allowance or anything, just run your serger, zigzag stitch, overlock stitch, whichever you're using, straight down the edge. Do that on the front and back, both sides, but do not do it on the top. I mean, you can, but don't cut into this. So if you want to, you can do that. I'm going to show you how to sew them together, though, or serge them together in a minute. So I just finished the bottom. I need to make some room here, everybody. And now we're going to wrestle with the fabric a little bit. Okay, right sides together. I'm going to start at the top and clip them. I'm just going to work my way down. I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to, right here at this extension, I'm going to line that up and pin that together. And again, pattern markings, you needed to transfer those over. If you did not, I'll give you a tip. There's a marking that is 1 inch beyond this hem extension. So you should, I didn't transfer it over because I know where I'm stopping. They're right about here, 1 inch down from this, and then if you follow the seam line down, it's going to be 3/8 of an inch in. That's where your star mark is. You need that. That's really, 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 really important. So we're going to sew with a straight stitch. later about it.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Get your shower, please.
I know why.
You know why. I know why, too. We took advantage of distance learning, and Thomas is very blonde. You gonna say hi? And we dyed his hair blue. It's not blue anymore. It's kind of ashy looking. And so he's wanting to re-dye his hair.
You said there was enough more.
There's enough more. Okay. Go grab your shower, please. Alright, so we're going to sew with this straight stitch. Excuse me. And a 3/8 inch seam allowance. All the way down. Oh, I hope that thread shows up. Okay. Get your shower, please. So we're going to go all the way to that star.
What are you sewing?
The skirt for Jillian.
Why do you say your full name?
Because that's her name. Alright, I'm going to put a pin in.
No, but why do you never say just Jill?
Because her name is Jillian.
That's her full name.
I know. Why do we call you Thomas?
Because I don't have a shorter way to say that.
So
Shorter way to say it, I hate.
So you're just straight stitching down. Oh, that didn't. There, you can kind of see it.
What do you want me
I'm
to
sorry. All the way down. Laundry room, please, Thomas. And then you're gonna stop
This.
at that star marking. That's 1 inch from the hemvet. Just put it on the dryer. Now, I'm going to show you how we can finish this seam. So we're going to clip into the seam allowance. So I did not clip the seam. You can see the seam right there. I'm just going to free that. And then I'm going to serge straight down this, and then when I get to that hemvet, I'm just going to fold that out of the way and serge right off the edge. Make sure my iron's hot. Sorry, I didn't think about baseball practice interrupting. I mean, I knew when practice was over. I knew I wasn't picking him up. I didn't. I should have known. Sorry. They did distancing baseball practice is what they did tonight, which is interesting. All these kids like so far apart on the field. It's kind of odd, but that's what we did tonight. So it's our first time. He hasn't seen those kids in months. Oh my goodness. So I serged all the way down, and then when I got to the hemvet, I just folded it over and went right off the edge. Boom. So you can serge and finish the raw edges before constructing, and then just leave it two separate seam allowances. But I like that serged like that, and it's really quick and easy. So now I'm just opening up the skirt, and we're going to press that seam allowance open. I'm trying to get the other seam allowance tucked up so that I'm not messing up yesterday's work. So I'm taking the time to make that lay nice.
Mom, I'm out of sew.
Okay. don't know if you could hear him. I apologize. So, that nice. Take that pin out. And we're just going to fold this hem back an inch. On each side and press. And just press that in place really well. If you want, this is a really good opportunity for hem tape. You can use some hem tape to keep that in place, especially if you have like this really loose woven fabric that likes to hop all over the place. That will really control it. So up at the top, you can just press your seam allowance to the back. Get this pressed, and then I'll hold it up so that you can see. Boom. So you can see the seam allowance is pressed to the back, and then that hem vent is open. You can hear him singing. You guys, he's never quiet. He's never quiet. I love him to pieces. But yeah, he's never quiet. So it's really odd when he's not home because the house is quiet. So there we go. Now don't sew any of that yet. We will do that in hemming. If you do use hem tape, don't put that in yet. We'll do that in the next step because when we hem, we need to be able to open this up when we hem. So we will do that on Friday. So any questions on the skirt? New to serging. Oh, I'm glad you guys love the kids. I mean, they're here. It's their home too. So he does try very, very hard. He had talked to me that he was going to sew the pockets. He was going to teach you guys how to sew the pockets. And I quizzed him, like, so how do you sew a pocket? And it was so cute, but he opted not to join us the other night. Okay, go upstairs, please. I'm not telling. So, yes, he does keep sewing, really relatable. So he loves the hand sewn stuff. So this is the inside of our skirt. And I'm just going to flip it right side out real quick. So our skirts do not have the fly extension on them, so they are really a fast sew. Like I said, see, it looks big, but once you get the elastic in and everything, oh, this is so cute. This linen is amazing. Don't touch. Yep. Okay. Yeah, they could hear you. Okay. So that is where we're at tonight. Trying to think. Okay. Tomorrow's Thursday. Like I said, I get my days mixed up because I'm working ahead for the blog and then I'm working on this stuff with you guys. So tomorrow we do the elastic. We will sew the buttonholes for that. If you are afraid of buttonholes, you definitely want to be here tomorrow because I'll go over that with you. And what else? We're going to thread the elastic through. We'll do the drawstring casing, construct the waistband. I'm not going to do a yoga waistband live because I don't have another sample sewn up for that. So it's just going to be the elastic waistband. But if you have any questions about the yoga waistband instructions that are going to be on the blog tomorrow, just shoot me an email or post in a group. I've had a couple questions and stuff that I've missed, and I apologize. When I do these sew-alongs, like, my notifications blow up. So if I missed you, just tag me again, so hopefully it will show up again in my notifications, or repost it. I'm sorry if that's more work for you guys, or email me. My email's usually don't get lost. I did have one disappear from my inbox this week. I saw it when I was on my phone, and then I could not find it again. So, but usually email is a very safe way for me to keep track of everything. So if I don't catch you in a group, just re-comment, re-tag, or email me. So, yes, that 6 linen is lovely, and it's very washable. I like this berry. It's not like scream in your face pink. It's, I think it's more of like a muted red. So I am typically, like, as you can see on my fabric wall, I don't do a lot of pink. I'm starting to get into it more, like that, this melon tinsel. I have to think really hard when I pronounce it. I love this. This is very, very, very pink for me, but I love it. I'm excited for those. So, okay. Waistbands tomorrow, 7 o'clock. I hope everybody found us easily today. And then I'll post this. It's going to be forever in our Facebook group, and then it will also be on today's blog post. So, all right, if you have any questions, email me at help@lovenotions.com, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye.